you're joining us. So, good morning, everyone. I wish to all of you a very happy new year. And I would like to welcome you to one or more session of the Athena Talks in collaboration with the ITEM project, Pythagoras project, Math Digger project, and AGME project. All these projects are related and they have a priority in teaching science and teaching of mathematics or teaching anything related to science, technology, engineering, art now, and mathematics is very, very important. It's a high priority for all of us. I would like to welcome our colleague Kristof Fenyvesi, if I can pronounce well your name. Perfect. He's a PhD researcher of STEAM in trans and multidisciplinary learning and contemporary cultural studies at the Finnish Institute for Educational Research in the University of, now the hard thing starts, of Jyväskylä University.
Yes, Jyväskylä, very good.
Jyväskylä in Finland. He's a member of the Research Group for Innovative Learning Environments and Research Group for Educational Assessment and Learning. And today he's going to speak to us about creativity, innovation, and sustainability in STEAM education. He's very active in Erasmus projects. He comes from Finland, that they are leaders, in teaching science in STEM education in general. So the floor is yours for the next 40-45 minutes, and then we are going to provide the floor to the audience for questions. Among us, I can see that we have also Professor Makridis, who was the last speaker on this session, and he also spoke about STEM in our previous lecture. So welcome, Gregory, and Happy New Year to everyone. So the floor is yours, Kristof, and we are looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Konstantinos, for this warm welcome. Actually, I think I need this warm welcome, because if you look out my window, you see this infinite whiteness. This white horizon is there, and it's also a little bit foggy. So we have a lot of snow in this time of the year in Finland, but it's excellent to be here together with friends. And warm congratulations for organizing this mega program. It's absolutely impressive. So I think all of us who ever organized even a single event, we know that how much effort it requires, and putting together this wonderful lineup. So it's a great honor for me to join this circle of speakers. And also I see quite a few familiar names and faces. It's so good to meet you again, also in the Athena forum. And I hope I can keep up to the standards of this meeting. I followed a few talks here, and so I'm absolutely excited meeting you today. So just as Konstantinos introduced our topic today, do you see my screen, right? Can you see?
Yes, we can see your screen. Go ahead.
Creativity, innovation, and sustainability in STEAM education. I collected quite a few slides. Let's see how much time we will have to go through this material, because I think every headlines here, creativity, innovation, sustainability, STEAM, not to mention education, would require extremely much more time to go deeper in that. And that's why I also would like to encourage you to make comments, and also if you have any questions on the fly, please just put it in the chat. And Konstantinos might help me if there is something there which require us to stop, and we can also collect these questions for the discussion part of the talk. So Konstantinos already introduced me kindly. We are also running Experience Workshop, which is a STEAM network, international STEAM network. And you have seen already the landscape from my window, but I can tell that Jyväskylä, this is in central Finland, about 300 kilometers from Helsinki to the north. So we are on the halfway between the Nordic Circle and Helsinki. It's the university has been the cradle of Finnish education in many regards. I mean, Finnish education as we know it today, because we started up as a teacher seminary in 1863, and actually this was the first university, first seminar, first campus where women also got awards, certificate to become a teacher. So this is a very important heritage for us, and gender equity is still on the top of our agenda. And many things has become famous about Finland in terms of education, just has born here. So we're really enthusiastic to keep on with this really important tradition. Also, as it comes to education and actually current trends in education, we can see that synergies, connections, this is what we are looking for, that how we can prepare the next generation for this complex reality, and also the complex and uncertain future. So we are definitely looking for these synergies also in our university level, that there are some guiding topics what we try to use as a connection point between projects, between efforts, what we are carrying out in the university. And as you can see, basic natural phenomena and mathematical thinking. This is one of the top priorities. Information technology and the human in the knowledge society, language, culture and society, learning, teaching and interaction, physical activity, health and well-being, sustainable business and economics. So these are all in our priorities on the university level. And these all has also its own reflection in our teacher training program, and also in our educational research agenda. As Konstantinos already told you, I work in the Finnish Institute for Educational Research in a research group focusing on innovative learning environments. When we mention learning environment, of course, we have in mind the physical environment of learning, but I would like to highlight that it's not only about that, but we have also social environment, we have also community basis, and actually learning is always an interpersonal activity, a social activity. So we would like to see the process of learning in terms of what are those factors which are influencing this process. So the mental environment, the psychological environment, the community environment, and of course the technology enhanced environment using different devices are very important focus points for us. And this also contributes to a quite diverse and I can say vast area of research. So we have also quite a lot of European Commission financed projects. Some of the logos are here. We are also having some national priorities. So it's our institute which also coordinates PISA and other OECD and also OECD related assessments all over in Finland. And we have also some international tasks in these larger assessments what are carried out to check what are the current trends and current highlights in education globally. So In this project, you can see that STEAM is many times repeated, and also digital development, digital collaboration, co-designing 21st century skills. So you can see that this multidisciplinary aspect of learning is very important for us. But first of all, what is STEAM? So all of you are very familiar with this acronym, but just to make it sure, when we say it, STEAM, it refers to science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. But I used to say that this is a very well formed acronym. It sounds good, and maybe it sticks in our ear. But of course, these areas are much broader, and also these topics are much more diverse. I would put the emphasis on the word integration, so that how we can connect different subjects and how we can go beyond the subject limitation of studying. So I don't say that we don't need subjects anymore. Moreover, we definitely need to have the specific understanding of various areas, but we must also think about what to build on this and how to combine them when it comes to complex questions. And when it comes to integration, it's of course not only the integration of topics, but also the integration of various actors in the education field. So we try to also support networking in the field and in the framework of STEAM education. So researchers, teachers, parents, educational providers, entrepreneurs, startup people, innovators, museum people, science center people, and of course the students as well. We try to connect them in various communities. I will share later some links in the chat, so you will be welcome to join us and move together in this field if you are interested. But what is this integration for, right? So this is another good question. So we would like to see that education contributes to well-being of the children and of the students and in a lifelong perspective to everybody. So how we can be happy or active members of the society. So we would like to see this very straightforward connection of education to life, to say so. So and in the basic education level, we really believe that maybe is not the goal to have the field experts in primary school, but enthusiastic children who are motivated and engaged to learn and who can learn new methods, new techniques, new approaches, new cognitive approaches, how they can learn better. So learning to learn, first of all, this is, and making connections and connecting information, combining information and creating knowledge, creating new knowledge. This is what we are interested mostly in terms of basic education. So we are open for these new methods for enhancing collaborative creativities as well. And there is an emphasis on the multiplicity of creativities here. We will talk about it. Sorry, there is a typo on the slide. And also phenomenon-based learning, which means that to be exposed to the natural phenomenon, to the physical aspects of our being, so embodied learning and also getting into touch with the things. So this is what we try to highlight in our approaches, and also this is what we want to study deeper. So activating creativities, this is a good approach, and how to enhance health, well-being, in a holistic perspective. This is so much true also regarding the Finnish core curriculum. So this is also some strong points in the curriculum of Finland, that this holistic perspective focusing on well-being and also sustainability and creativities. So I can recommend this article what we wrote together with Jukka Sinnemäki, who is a dedicated teacher and also currently doing his PhD in my colleague doctoral school, Dr. Zsolt Lavica, who is also involved in some projects which are highlighted in the Athena circle. So I will also share these video links later in the chat because I think it's worth to watch these videos, but Zoom not necessarily the best for streaming these videos. So maybe you can watch it comfortably later if you are interested. So how we can add to maths, to science learning, also the social and emotional aspects, social and emotional skills, how we can develop social teaching practices, instructional teaching practices, and you can see a lot of aspects and a lot of areas of this, which has been already discussed also in terms of didactics of mathematics, didactics of science, but we would like to establish the connection between the knowledge gathered in terms of didactical perspective of subject learning and also the social and emotional skill development. We can also discuss this on the organizational level. So how a school can be open for integration, and what are those models, this pro-society, pro-social leadership aspects, which can encourage these kind of connections in a school environment. We see this very important because we also know that there are huge differences between curricula, and we can also see that there are countries and educational environments where there is a more authorship given to the teachers. I think Finland is one of the so-called positive extremes in this regard, and there are other educational cultures where it's more hierarchic and teachers have less to decide, but still on the school perspective and the school level, a lot of things could be enhanced in whatever environment, whatever context is available. So in our campus, we have also the library, for example. It's a good example that how it's transformed into an open science space. And we have the books, yes, of course, and we have the traditional way of sharing knowledge and accessing the knowledge, but how we can open this space. So there are a lot of opportunities now how our library renewed in this regard, and these innovative learning spaces turn to be very acceptable and also embracing this multidisciplinary learning methodology. So we have a lot of workshops going on, for example, and schools visiting us for having also activities in STEAM activities. We can see also this transformation, that how these so-called informal methods in education, informal approaches in education are also getting more and more space, more and more attention in formal context. So how schools are transformed based on informal methods. For example, to mention project-based learning, which has been around, of course, many decades. I think even more than 100 years. I mean, if I just look at the modern history of the concept project-based learning, and it includes a lot of informal methods and informal approaches, and we can see that how it gains also more space in schools. And when we talk about creativity, this becomes very important, that how, for example, these methods can enhance creative aspects. So this is a good resource, this classroom think tank by Leonard Sommer. You can find more than 100 creative classrooms from all around the world. So it's really eye-opening to see what's going on. There is also a video related to this visit in this school in Bogota, and all these workshops what we have done there. So this is just an illustration that how one possibility of running STEAM workshops, hands-on learning in this project-based context, and also in a school space. But we can see very similar efforts, for example, in Norway. We are having just a project going on. It's called STEAM Upgrade Project, where Stavanger University is involved, and you can see also their model of this digital learning space, where teachers and future teachers can experiment with various different tools and various different approaches. So it's like a sandbox, like a playground for future teachers who want to try different things what they can have access later in their career. So to get them prepared, that what are the possibilities, what are the opportunities, and see what are those competencies what can be brought forward by this STEAM integration. So we are talking a lot about lifelong learning competencies. There is even a European policy, European Union for supported policy about it. We can also see the digital competence framework, which is also a basic European Commission supported framework which influence the whole education. So how we can see the STEAM approach in this regard, that has been also our question, because we can also see that also schools are more and more building a kind of a STEAM ecosystem. There is a possibility to build it. And I already mentioned Professor Zsolt Lavica from the Johannes Kepler University, and I also want to mention Dr. Chris Brownell from the US. So we started to work on this STEAM ecosystem framework. What's between the digital competence and lifelong learning framework from this multidisciplinary education. And of course, before I would introduce these first steps, I would like to reveal some of the sources in terms of math education. Of course, there are a lot of opportunities. These are just some examples. So the GeoGebra community, which Professor Lavica been one of the starters of the community, it's huge. I think most of you at least heard about GeoGebra, but I think a large proportion of you even used it, and even mastering it, some of you. So this is a very successful example that how technology can influence, for example, math education, and these opportunities what now is accessible for free in our pocket with our mobile phones, how to bring augmented reality to the classroom, how we can have the connection with 3D printing, and how we can even enhance our math classrooms tools, sets with a 3D printer, and how you can make a student project about finding new games, designing games, and then designing them and print them in the classroom to make, for example, math class more playful, how gamification, how art connections can enhance this setting. We can see also other projects like cookie cutters. Christmas time was here in Europe not so long ago, so maybe you thought to make some tessellated gingerbread under the Christmas tree. So this is also very interesting combinations. And what I mentioned is physical and digital aspects of learning, how we can bring into play into these combinations, how architecture as another complex area could be brought into the classroom with the help of these technologies, how it can be connected with the math trail, with math walks or with science walks in places, and how you can bring back to the classroom as a learning material your experiences. So we can see wonderful examples from Korea, Israel, Luxembourg, so and many other places, that how these are gaining more and more opportunities also on the classroom level. So just to highlight some of these projects, I'm not talking too much about this. Also, of course, machine learning. So AI became like a blockbuster sensation now from the it's all over in the newspapers what these models can achieve. So how we can use also these models for enhancing the learning experience is very important. And as I thought about networking, so we have also a Facebook group, GeoGebra Arts and STEAM. I think this is an old photograph, so we already have like 30,000 members around. So this is a huge community. I also would like to encourage you to check this out. I will put the link later in the chat. And when it comes to sustainability, of course, when we talk about maths, for example, statistics and data visualization, data-based learning have wonderful opportunities to understand such complex connections like sustainability requires, and this will be connecting the learning process with creative approaches, and also the innovative aspects are definitely here. So when I mentioned this all connections, we can also try to make our own setting. We can also try to make our own pedagogical mix, which respond first of all to the needs of the learners. So we are more and more talking about learning instead of teaching, because we believe that we must respond to the needs first of all, and that's why we need this kind of possibility, this kind of free space to move, and also collaboration with our colleagues, of course from other fields, to set up those configurations which are the best to respond to those needs what we can see. And of course, we have absolutely huge challenges ahead, global challenges and also local challenges. I don't want to list now all the crises what we are going through in these days. I think it's all enough just to open any kind of news channel or whatever. But we can see that the situation is very challenging, and also the goals are very challenging. So just to limit to Finland, we want to have our 50% of our whole population with a higher education degree in a short amount of time. So this is a very challenging goal if you think about it. We have also the 18 years old age requirement in education. This is very nice on the one hand, and on the other hand, there is a lot of open questions on the level of the teachers, also in terms of inclusion, inclusivity, and also using technology and having also different professions around the school and within the school. And digital education and innovation is not only an opportunity but also a challenge, as we know it very well in this community where we are speaking now. So we would like to see these creative ecologies grown from these efforts. So how we can bring together these many good things to respond to these very many wicked challenges around. So that's a big question. So how we can contribute to building creative ecologies. So in this regard, we see eye-opening to recognize, based on our Cambridge colleague and her networks research, when we think about not only creative ecologies, but also multiple and diverse creativities. So how many different creativities we would like to give appreciation in our school, and how we can make these creativities productive also in terms of learning, because as we know, creativities are all fantastic, but productivity and creativity is not always a synonym, and there are a lot of creativities which turned out to be productive only later and in different contexts. So this is an extremely difficult question, and we need to have more understanding of this. We need to have more understanding that how knowledge has been transforming in these developments and these changes, how the skills are also transforming, and what kind of attitudes, values, ethics we need to be active in this needs-based framework, and how we can prepare the teachers also, and how we can learn from the teachers, and how teachers can learn from each other in these very complex questions. So we see that these projects, what we are putting together, are these kind of interventions where we can use them as test grants. We have some nice examples like this kids inspiring kids in STEAM. You can see a few pictures from this project. And of course, to collect also the experiences in terms of research articles. So it can be an interesting source, this art and mathematics connection, aesthetics of interdisciplinarity. If you are interested in the background of this, we also very active in building these pedagogical frameworks, design principles, recommendations, also for STEM and STEAM learning. These are open access materials. And of course, to see that how this reconfiguration in STEAM happening, and why science and art creativities are matter. And of course, I mostly talked about the basic education level, but I think it would be a huge mistake to forget early childhood education in this regard. So this is another source which is pretty new. I can recommend it to you. It's playful learning, and it's about the Finnish core curriculum in early childhood education, because we believe that this is the basis of the whole of the whole lifelong learning story. So in Finland, we want to put the most emphasis on early childhood education and also preschool learning. And this book can offer you an insight in English language into these topics. We also see as a new challenge and opportunity at the same time, hybrid education, not necessarily on the way as it has opened for us on a very unwanted way in this forced online learning period in the COVID-19. So we can also see it's like a collection of failures as well, but a collection of failures what we want to learn from, and also collection of success stories, definitely. This is a teacher education example, Indonesia, hybrid learning. I'm sitting in my office in Finland, and we are doing some hands-on activities together. So this was very interesting. And actually, there are also new opportunities in this regard. I don't have a slide about it because it's very new for us as well, but we want to see telepresence robots also in this hybrid learning field. Also, there are some videos how we celebrated a day of mathematics in a school which was under quarantine, 500 children locked in a tiny village in Romania. But they were doing STEAM activities on the day of mathematics, every classroom, different programs, and UNESCO leader of the program also visited this school virtually. So these are very interesting stories, and actually we also try to analyze them. This is another open access publication what you might want to check out. And if we go out a little bit from our European perspective, I saw there are some South African participants here also in our meeting. So I'm very, I can say clearly, I'm very proud for this achievement. So the South African colleagues, so they are using mathematics and art connection and even a low threshold connection just to using colors and paint and paper, providing even to the poorest schools. And you can see all these wonderful artworks here. I planned a little exercise that we can try to play a bit around this image, but I'm not sure we have time for that. Let's return to it if we have time in the conversation. But you can see that there is this technique. This is actually in a Finnish school. It's a very similar process what has been used by this South African student who created a background image with this pendulum painting method. But as he explained, he wasn't so happy with this pendulum painting outcome, and that's why he started to build other layers on the image. And you can see it's a very complex artwork. And it was very interesting that he used his failure to be part of the artwork and make it very special. So it's you can see that these creative turn and these creative moments are just happening there. We just need to open our eyes to catch them. And another artist, young artist, my word during coronavirus. You can see also this how it's told in the language of mathematics and the art. Another one which has a very strong political statement as well. So what are the perspectives in a segregated society and fighting for integration? We are proportionally equal. This other South African student have this statement in the language of maths and arts, you can see, and many things to talk about this, of course, in a social way and in artistic way, but I think also in terms of mathematics. And when we talk about sustainability, to see that how things are connected and how we are connected, even a universal perspective of our decisions, or global perspective of our decisions and of our lives. So these are all what need to be embraced in somehow in the pedagogical processes. What my universe adds up to. So what an interesting question, and you can see this very complex representation also leaning against my universe. So these are all the messages, all the connection points from our students. And this is basically up to us teachers that how much can be curious about this and how we can get the connection to this content and how we can bring it to the floor in the classroom, these excellent content. And actually this is what is very important in our program, like in the South African program, as a teacher training activity. Of course, we value these artworks on their own value. They don't have any more purpose than just to be exist, and we admire them as art, and we also look at them as art. But as teachers, we want to have even one more step ahead. And we want to understand these works as a possibility to start conversation and to respond students' needs and to explore our curriculum also as a potential source for these connections. But maybe the connection needs to be open also from the student side. It's not us who want to teach, but it can be also all of us who want to learn together with the students. So I think these artworks, for example, this selection is very strong about it. There are more slides describing also the philosophical context and how the teachers built their teacher training in this imaginative, inspired world of mathematics and art. There's a beautiful book published. I will show it after the screen sharing. So you can see also that how the teachers embraced all these topics coming from the children in this project. So they represented in the shape of a baobab tree, which is also a strongly symbolic a tree in the South African context. Is very many ways connected to the community aspects. There is also an artist statement from a child. I try to share the sound on some way, and then we can listen it in the end part of my talk. So I try to start this, and you can listen the voice of the learner who participated in this project.
Good day all, my name is Naledi. I have realized that art doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to be a professional to make an art piece. Making an art piece takes time. Everyone has their own creativity. Art is not all about painting, coloring, drawing. It's also about patience, open-minded, joy, dignity. You can turn anything, and I mean anything, into art. I have realized that entering the maths competition can boost someone's confidence. For example, me, I have never thought I could paint. I am glad that I've made it this far. Something that you want to achieve can be achieved. Just believe in it and put effort. Thank you.
All right. There is some other
Good day.
content, but I think we don't have time for this. So just to close my presentation, I would like to say thanks for your attention. Of course, there are slides about what kind of connections we can make and reflection of the different disciplinary configurations, and many other projects like bringing in algorithmic thinking in the process and other sustainability learning scenarios. Maybe just highlighting this that in Qatar University there will be a big event in the end of January. So this also shows the global perspective of these questions, and many things will happen in Finland, in Jyväskylä as well. So if we get connected, I'm very happy to inform you about all these events and also tell you how you can join to those which you are interested in. Thanks a lot for your very kind attention.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Kristof. Very, very informative presentation. I think I kept, 4 pages of notes, so I will come back to you and I will ask more. I have some questions. Welcome, Carla. I will have some questions, but I will provide the floor first to the audience before I will ask mine. So please raise your virtual hand if you would like to ask questions to Kristof. Now the time, I think Kristof also has shared in the chat his credentials and his contact information, and I will provide the floor to Carla from IPP, Professor Pinto from IPP in Portugal. The floor is yours, Carla.
Hi, hello, good morning to you all. Sorry for being a little bit late. But anyway, my question, congrats, Kristof. Hello, nice to see you all here. Hi, Mirella. Kristof, you usually apply these techniques in K-12 education, right?
Yes, that's like a main area, but also we have project there for the higher education and, as I told, the early childhood. But yes, K-12 is the main focus.
Good, because me, Kostas, Mirel, etc., we work in higher education and we want to apply some of these techniques in higher education. So we are also counting with your help, okay, on this.
Of course,
okay.
Of course, Carla, it's so great honor that you are here today, and
please,
it's amazing what you do. So thanks a lot.
No, the thing is that we have plenty of ideas, right, Kostas? And we need to address them in the way that it's different to teach our age, the students in greater than 18 years old, right?
Yes,
or
yes,
to,
exactly.
to lower grades. And
yes.
We have short amount of time to teach a huge amount of syllabus. So these are the questions that we need to address.
Yes, definitely,
okay?
definitely. And just as you pointed out, higher education needs to renew as well, and we can see that how the new pedagogies would be very important to implement. There is not only a lecture and seminar format, and the reality. For example, if we go to work in a company, there won't be lectures and seminars, but very different ways, and there are ways to enhance creativity, innovation. There are many practices that are used, but are we ready as university lecturers? There is a lot of us on us to get ready, and it's a huge challenge. So we must support each other in that, and not just mentioning that what are the lacks, what's wrong, and what's
of course not.
but to see that how we can learn from these techniques
from each other. Yeah, definitely. Yes, Kristof, definitely. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Carla, for the intervention, and I will give the floor to a colleague, Professor Mirella Winneran-Bernhoff from the Karlstad University in Sweden. Carla, Mirella, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank Kristof for the very nice presentation. And secondly, I want to join Carla. And what I want to maybe just comment, not ask, is that it may be not that teachers are not ready. I think we are more and more ready.
Yes.
It's that the policies are not ready. The university policies are not ready.
Yes.
You know, the course plans, the rules, things like this. So we want to do changes, but we are stopped because it's not yet legal. It's not yet accepted by the university policy. So at least in Sweden, sometimes this is the problem we are challenged with. And I think at least in the northern countries, maybe it's the same in Finland, it's easier in schools than at university to change the policies.
You are absolutely right. And we also use these projects as platforms, you know, like building this safe incubation context, and also to reach out from this, and you know, as a social impact and also educational impact is more and more important also in research projects. So we want to offer this support even to really top level scientific research project, to have this outreach element there, and how education, how pedagogy can learn from this.
But I also want to say that this type of projects like Kostas is now running, and it help because
Absolutely.
It's showing that this is important, and that the European Council and Erasmus and so on, they give an attention to this, and maybe the directors and the rest of will listen in the end. Yeah,
exactly. Thank you, Mirala. Thanks a lot.
This is a very good point, and since here we have the Vice Rector of Education of my university, Professor Mavromatakis, that probably thought this is something that, you know, we have discussed unofficially, that some performance indicators for any academic that he's asking for promoting should be assigned to the teaching performance, because always what we evaluate is the publications only, and not, you know, the research performance, and not the teaching performance. And this is something that also will help the policies of the universities to be adapted in order to motivate academics to learn more and apply more of these pedagogical sciences and principles. But this only will happen if there is some quantified kind of criteria during the promotions regarding the teaching performance, because papers is something that we count, and citation is something that we count. But what about the real teaching performance of our colleagues within the classroom, and, you know, evaluations that they are taking? I think that this is something that in HMU we should be the first one that we should approach and be the model in the whole Europe. So Fotis, keep this into account, because you are the only decision maker among us right now.
Yeah. We'll have to see how this goes.
Yeah. All right, the floor is to Professor Makridis from Cyprus.
Good morning, everyone. Kristof, thanks for the excellent presentation. I hope we get copies of your presentation.
Yes, I will send it to Konstantinos, and he can take care of the.
I just want to comment in one point that you highlighted, that the goal of Finland is to increase higher education receivers from 50% to 50%.
Yes. 50, yeah.
My comment is that in Cyprus, for the last 20 years, we have been proud, supposedly proud, that we had higher education completion of more than 60%. We were in the top three in the world. But this was a great mistake. The reason, we don't have technical people. We import labor, we import technicians, because those who receive university degrees, they don't do low-level technician work. They want to be all managers. So one of this is what we need to clarify when we say higher education. Maybe we should emphasize, or I suggest you emphasize, technical higher education or vocational, in a sense. Because if most people get university degrees, you will have a problem for low-level work, and you will have to import labor. In Cyprus, we go to restaurants and we have to speak in English because there is no local persons speaking as a waiter, working as a waiter. We go to hotels, receptions, and we cannot communicate in our own language. This is a phenomenon that you don't have in your countries. But here, one of the reasons that this is happening in this small country is because everyone became high-level educated and nobody wants to work at low-level jobs. Mm-hmm. So it reminded me when you said goal to become 50%, for the last years, we all say here that this was a big mistake because we had no technical school, no vocational schools. We still lack that. Everyone wants to get a degree. Of course, this was a cause. Let me put it in a political way now. This was because in 1974, when this country was invaded by Turkey, the only thing that the refugees did not lose was their university degree. They lost everything except a university degree. So receiving a university degree became a high value that nobody can take it from you, and you can never lose it, even if you lose your home and your property, etc. So this is another angle, of course, of the reason that why we increased to 60%, but it's a mistake in a society, I think, to have so high.
Thank you so much for your comment. I think that's another topic what would require sessions on its own. We have a very similar phenomenon as well. So I would just nail it down. And we didn't go too much or at all in the details of the Finnish education system. But if we would have time to that, what we are also encouraging and bringing forward in the same time, the social mobility through the education and also social mobility within the education system. So we see this vocational education and other sectors of education very well connected, and we have this crossroads offered actually in all levels. So I see your point. I don't say that I'm more optimistic than you in many regards, but I think there is also some work going on just on the topic what you pointed out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for the intervention, and Kristof for the answer. Can I see, dear? There is a question or a statement. Let me check from my colleague, Professor Christakis. Dear Professor Fenyvesi, you remind me a big poem. Dimitris, do you want to switch on your microphone? It will be much more original if you are going to make the statement.
Thank you very much. Yes, you remind me a big poem, a very beautiful poem. Of Lucretius. I think that everybody knows that, the Rerum Natura.
Yes,
is a very comprehensive and explanatory poem about the natural sciences, written in a very beautiful language, as the Latin language is, and it is a connection of the ancient Greek philosopher Epicurus and other poets like the Cretan Vincenzo Cornaro. Vincenzo Cornaro was a Venetian, but he has written in Greek. This multi-language expression, poetic expression of the natural sciences and mathematics is what you remind me, dear professor from Finland. That's why I'm very happy to hear from you all this stuff, and you make me to hope that civilization is not ended. We have a lot of reasons to speak together. And I really promise you to speak about that in another occasion if Professor Petridis will give us this opportunity. Thank you very, very, very much for your attitude, for your stuff to us, and thank you for bringing people from different cultures together. It is very, 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 very important nowadays. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Christakis. The International Relations Office of the Hellenic Mediterranean University and the governance of our university is open in any proposal. So just send me an email and we are going to organize everything that is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And now I have a question more.
We are running out of time, but I'm sorry, I must respond this because I had many reasons to come here today, but you gave me, dear Dimitris, if I may say so like that, the real reason to hear your words. It's definitely give me a lot of power, and also the poem you reminded. I'm not grown up yet. You know, there are many philosophers who told that you step into academic studies, especially philosophy, poetry, Greek, Latin culture. When you are in your 40s, you are still a baby. So I feel like a baby in these references, and I'm curious of everything. And this is beautiful to be here today. And thanks a lot for this comment.
Thank you. So can I ask one question? Do you have time, or we should close?
Please, I have the time. Yes.
Okay, I will be very fast. First of all, you know, I'm listening, you know, and I'm trying to follow all the tendencies: phenomenon-based learning, challenge-based learning, problem-based learning, collaborative-based learning, project-based learning. So my question is, like, in real class, what kind of approach should I follow to items from each one of them, to integrate one of them, or to follow one tendency? This is my first question.
Yes.
And my second question, I'm sorry for my question, because this comes from my ignorance. I would like to make it more clear to me, what is the impact? I had the feeling, but I would like to reconfirm, what is the impact of art in STEM? So STEAM. So what is the impact of art to STEM in order to have STEAM? These are my two questions. Thank you.
Well, this has turned out to be one of the most exciting discussion I can easily say in this year. but I think it must be some very strong discussions must become that to have stronger in the rest of the year. So first of all, yes, you just got the point, Konstantinos, that and also like Carla is commenting that what methods I use. Well, I try to understand what do I need. It's like Professor Makrides mentioned the technician. So if I want to act, then I choose the right tools, right? And I try to combine them. Maybe something I need to use in a new way. Maybe I need to be creative. I don't have a tool which would be needed to solve that kind of problem why I called for as a technician. So how I can reinvent my toolkit. That's why I emphasize the integration. That's my key point in STEAM. It's not to teach STEAM because STEAM is fashionable or I believe it's good, but to have the freedom to choose those tools what I need at the moment, and also to have my call to involve my colleague as well, to talk with my colleague. And you know, also in a class school environment, even in different rooms, the art teacher is sitting where the physics teacher is sitting, the chemistry teacher, the maths teacher sitting. So I want that these people are back in conversation and they have the dedication to talk with each other and share their expertise. And your the second question, what was the second? Just to quickly.
My second question is like to tell me in one sentence, if possible, what is the impact of art?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So this is still we need to understand it better, also on different levels. So you know, we have a lot of examples to say that how art, so how science inspired artists. Also, if we had this Lucretius poem, he was a very well versed scholar as well, we can say, in his time, but he was inspired also this call to understand the secrets of nature and to tell it in poetry. So we can see actually, fortunately, a lot of examples, but we can see even a bit less examples that how art impact science, especially when we are talking about top science. But these cases definitely exist. We know it also from the history of science, and this is one level. This is the top level. But my talk was more addressed to a basic level, that how a student is a beginner of maths, no academic studies, no academic interest, no nothing, just the beginner for math, can enjoy the experience of discovery in maths, right? So we cannot do it like that, when we want to teach music, we just read the notes for many years, and we don't touch any musical instruments. And maybe after 15 years, we can start to play an instrument. That might be a very disappointing pedagogy. But art and these creative approaches and self-expression and emotional, social combinations can help us to experience how to think like a mathematician, for example. What's the problem-solving process in these fields, and also to provide also the engaging side of this. So how to help children also to express themselves in the context of maths and science, though they are not prepared yet to use their formulae or that kind of level of knowledge, what they will learn as an academic later. And we hope that we can have them later as a very talented academic explorer or scientists or specialists in different technical fields as well.
Thank you very much. And let me, in the closing, let me kindly somehow disagree in what Professor Makridis has mentioned. Not disagree, but set it up in a different way, but probably I'm wrong. That I think that if in the university, when I was doing my PhD, Gregory, I was a laser physicist, so I was building laser systems. I should become an electrician, I should be a plumber, I should do, you know, I don't like the word low-level jobs, but jobs that they are very necessary for me to design, to go to the workshop. I mean, I have become somehow like a waiter when I would try to persuade to take my systems or, you know, to take grants. So I will say that if we a little bit formulate different the higher education, and, you know, do not think low level, these jobs that, you know, they are jobs that we are going to need in our research. I think that it's going to be more closer, the higher education, to what the market or the real life needs from us. But this is, you know, a different approach.
If I just made a comment, I don't disagree with you. Just
Gregory.
Many times the young people, they don't realize that what we call low level just now pays more money than higher level. So low level doesn't mean low paid jobs. We mean technicians, we mean a plumber, a whatever, and a technical expertise, vocational more, not academic, let's say, university higher level. And sometimes these young people who go to this so-called low level, they make more money than the other ones, for example. So anyway, maybe one day, because there are people who say that there would be no bachelors and masters in the future, and there would be only micro credentials, etc. But as we see in the last 100 years, that the secondary education was the basis as a general education from where we continue to higher education. It could be in the near future that the basic, let's say, competence will be the first cycle degree. So everyone gets a first cycle degree, call it higher education or something, and that gives them the basic, let's say, competence to be able to do anything they want to do in their lives and take it from there. So the generic, let's say, will not be anymore just the secondary education, but it could be the first cycle higher education would become a generic someday, so everyone gets it, and then continue from there. In that everyone gets it means you get the competence to learn.
Exactly.
Right? Competence to learn. This is what we need.
Excellent, excellent. And I think that you gave me a very nice idea, you know, through this discussion, that we're going to organize a round table about the future of the higher education, or etc. I will try to organize this in the close future. A last question from my colleague Manolis, but very fast, since we are coming. This is a successful webinar. This is a successful presentation because of the many questions and the discussions. So thank you, Kristof. And the last question from my colleague Manolis, Dr. Markoulakis. The floor is yours, Manolis.
Hello, Kristof. Thank you very much for this very enlightening presentation. I found it very interesting, particularly interesting, because my profession is a computer science teacher in high school. Here in Greek, I'm a public servant. So I find it very interesting because the Finnish educational system is regarded as one of the best in the world. And thank you for reminding us this. And my question is, I have heard that also from what you said in the STEAM framework, which is a framework for learning, that you promote in class the self-learning and self-investigation. I mean, the learner, the student, is not relied in listening just to the teacher, but the teacher pokes the interest of the student to search for himself or herself information about a specific topic. Is that correct? And if yes, the second question, is this implemented during the class hour? Because I have heard that students are free to choose their own topic. The topic of the lesson is not dictated solely by the teacher during the class hour, but you have work groups, and then each work group can search for its own topic, investigate and make a research, and then make a presentation maybe about this research, which reminds me more or less on here in the academic community where we do research. So learning is not through dictation from a teacher, but through research. So this also promotes long life self-learning. So, I mean, you inspire, the Finnish educational system inspires the love for learning. This is the most important, I believe. And besides the whole beautiful infrastructure the Finnish educational system has. So I want you, if you can comment on this point.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you so much. I just put a link actually for mobilities in Finland. So if you want to use Erasmus Plus opportunities to come to Finland as a teacher or higher education, or also with your students, that's all possible. So you can check out that link. We would be really happy to host you here in Central Finland. And that could be also the best way to understand that how this is approached. So there are micromanagement aspects and also like macro management aspects. So first of all, the curriculum encourage this multidisciplinary and project-based techniques, and there is also dedicated time in the curriculum for this. So teachers don't need to work against the system to have enough time. You know, you are preparing for the standardized tests and have a lot of pressure, no time for project work. So the situation is not that in Finland. We have one big standard test is the matriculation exam in the end of the high school, but nothing like that on the way. But we have every year at least 36 hours for multidisciplinary learning. And this is like, you know, the minimum what must be offered. There is nothing prevent you to build your whole all year activity like that. But this is to ensure that every children, whatever is the teaching style, whatever is the context, they have the experience of multidisciplinary learning. And then it comes down to the schools level and also to the classroom level, that how this time is used. So maybe someone build a project week, or maybe someone do this project work in every week in little parts in the classroom level. So teachers and students can together decide. But again, it's very well in the Finnish way of pedagogy that if I want to talk about something, maybe I first ask you that what do you know about this? And then this kind of discussion, negotiation is part of the learning process, and to build this reflection aspects. This is very strong, I think, in the Finnish pedagogy, the building the reflection and these techniques what you can use to build the reflection.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that we should close right now. I would like to thank you, all of you. You have seen a lot of useful links in the chat. Kristof, thank you again for this, your contribution, for this exciting. I think it was the longest colloquia talk that we had because of the questions, and this is very important, and the comments. I would like to invite you next Thursday. We continue this series of lectures in education, and we will have Associate Professor Maria Mehan from the University College Dublin. She's going to speak about the university mathematics lecture, to record or not to record. That is the question. So I will inform all of you, and thank you. Thank you very much, and keep tuning with Athena Talks and HMU initiatives and all of our ecosystem. Here we are one team. See you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for everybody. I had very good time. Thanks a lot. Thank you.